One. Welcome back to another episode of the Legit Day Job podcast. I'm Cody.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Kay.
And this is our Legit Day Job.
I'm sorry, I don't think they could hear you.
This is our Legit Day Job.
I hope they can hear you. It's our legit Jade.
This is our Legit Day Job.
There you go. It's what we do every day for a living.
Well, it is
back.
the morning, so you need to wake up.
Oh.
Welcome back.
It is the morning.
Yes.
For us.
This is day 8 of Toho-thon, episode 8.
Movies 16 and 17?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
16 and 17.
Movies 23 and 65.
Nope.
In that order.
Absolutely not.
This episode, we will be discussing Frankenstein versus Baragon
Mm-hmm.
and the War of the Gargantuas.
The War of the Gargantuan.
The War of the Yetis.
These
Brown Yetis.
these ones are a
Brown
bit
and green.
out of order. I think I explained to you guys when we sat down to watch these.
I think slightly, yeah.
Frankenstein versus Baragon was not immediately followed up by a War of the Gargantuas. It was immediately followed up or preceded by one of those two by the first film we'll be watching later today. I just rearranged our viewing order for this instance just because War of the Gargantuans is a loose sequel to
Yeah, a
Frankenstein
very,
versus-
very,
Frankenstein
very
versus Baragon.
loose sequel.
But before we get to War of the Gargantuans, let's talk about Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Oof.
So rough plot recap. It opens in I don't know the year. I want like
Probably present day.
definitely did open present day. It opened in
Oh,
World
wait a
War
minute.
II.
Oh, that's right. 45. It's
Was-
1945.
Was
yeah.
it 45?
Yeah, because
I mean-
the Nazis or maybe it was the Nazis. I think they
No,
came and
yeah,
stole.
it opened in like a Nazi scientist laboratory as he's like working on Frankenstein's heart, and the Nazis take it away, and the Nazis ship it off to Japan.
And then some guys working on it in Japan get bombed
Yeah.
by a
Hiroshima.
atomic bomb. Yeah, it's Hiroshima. So it was 1945.
Yeah. Well, I remembered it was 45 because the Hiroshima just hard cut. I just
Yeah.
didn't remember if it opened like specifically in 1945, like
I think I made a joke about
in Germany.
I think I made a joke about that. Like, this is like the end of the war. Like they're about to get bombed, and then like they actually did get bombed, and I was like, oh.
So yeah, so that's the first couple minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Then it hard cuts to
like 1960.
Yeah, 1965. I'm assuming that's when the movie came out. So
Probably present.
it's mid 60s, where you got a American scientist who's working in Japan,
With a horrible
and
Japanese
his
dub.
and his assistant, the Japanese babe, as they always need one.
Yeah. always. They like live together or something, don't they?
Yeah.
I think
Was
they
it-
do.
Was that what
I
it
think they
was?
live
Yeah,
together.
they
Yeah,
did.
like every time
Oh,
that
yeah.
one of them is in an apartment, the other one's there too. So like I don't know.
They
if,
were like always together for some reason.
and I think it was the same apartment. So
They
I think they
might
lived
have
together.
been married or engaged or I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that specific detail.
Or maybe they were just boss and secretary. You never
just
know.
chilling together.
Yeah.
Just behind the scenes.
You're right. That's how they do. Anyway, they run into a little Neanderthal boy,
I live with our
and they take him in, and then turns out that he's Frankenstein.
Yeah, looks nothing like the American Frankenstein.
Well, it's a
whatsoever. He looks-
different lore in this one. Different
Yeah,
continuity.
but like the only tie is really like just the thought of
It's
hey,
the
so
heart,
they were put
really.
together by pieces of dead people. That was it. That's like the only real.
I don't even think that was the connection. The connection
That
was
was
just
like the only connection really to like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yeah, it was like just
because
put
I
together by
don't
dead
remember them
parts.
specifically saying that he was put together.
they
by,
did.
Did they?
They definitely did. The only part that was like important was the forever living heart. But
Yeah.
Otherwise the body they said was like is made of like dead people
I don't
parts.
remember
But
that
that was
one.
about the only part that was like sort of consistent. Everything else like appearance, actual backstory, and everything was like not really.
Yeah.
So
Either way, so yeah, they take in the little Neanderthal boy, and he starts growing
he
And
starts
growing
into
and
like
growing.
A
And
the
giant.
growing.
size of a kaiju.
Yeah,
Like,
he grows.
why?
He grows into a kaiju, and then everyone starts freaking out because they're like, it's a larger Neanderthal.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill us. And then they
But,
start
like-
going on a Frankenstein witch hunt. And then an actual kaiju shows up, and they're like, An actual kaiju that's actually eating us. Go, Neanderthal man. Go save the day.
Mhm.
And then Neanderthal man fights the monster, and then the end.
Much like
That's
how-
the general plot recap.
Yeah, pretty much. Much like how you know, they're like, oh no, we don't like this King Kong boy, and then Godzilla shows up. They're like, oh hell no, King Kong, go kick his ass. It's pretty much what it was, except Frankenstein, and I don't even remember the other monster. Honest to God.
Baragon.
Oh, it was Baragon.
Baragon.
I just remember bear, and that was it.
It was a bear.
It was a bear.
The bears. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down on my notes here that it ironically shares a lot of similarities to King Kong.
Yeah, it
Like-
looks like King Kong.
No, not Frankenstein. I'm talking the plot.
Oh no, I know what you meant. I was just pointing
You
out
got
that
a-
Frankenstein looks like King Kong too. He's
You
a
got a
hairy little
large-
brown boy.
Misunderstood beast. In the movie, like he's a large
He's a
misunderstood.
human. He's a human being.
He's not a human.
No, the doctor says he's not a human, but the woman thinks
no.
he's a human.
Yeah.
No, thank you for bringing that up. I wrote that down. No, the doctor did not call him human.
The doctor calls him a monster. 'cause
No,
the
no, no.
doctor's an
No.
ass.
They directly compare him to a gorilla. You don't remember that?
No, I
they
don't remember that.
directly compare him to a gorilla.
There's
That
only
was
so
just
many-
funny.
There's only so much subtitle I can remember, my dude. I remember mostly the visuals.
But so yeah, you got the large misunderstood beast who's compared to a gorilla. You got the understanding female that can calm the beast down. The beast becomes agitated by the media and then breaks free and runs off to find the female in the city.
oh yeah, that was great.
Oh, yeah.
They were holding him like captive in some secret lab, and then the media just walks on in with their happy asses and their
They just set up
You know,
these
their
comedically
cameras
large
and bright ass
lights.
lights. Yeah, I mean, actually, no. The lights being that bright actually makes sense because it's like
No,
but-
not the brightness of them. They bring on like full blown like film
Like,
lights.
yeah,
like they grabbed actual lights from the set.
like floodlights and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and they just set it
but
up
they
in
loaded
front
up,
of them.
They loaded up in this secret lab that they shouldn't have access to, especially in China. I don't
Japan.
know why. Oh, I'm
Japan.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's
Wrong
Japan.
country.
Got racist.
But no, my bad. I was thinking. I was like, how did they? No. My bad. Japan. But still,
It's okay. We're
should
7
be a
minutes in.
secret- it
We
should
shouldn't be
be-
demonetized.
it should be a secret. It should be a secret lab. The fact that they waltz on in there and then just set it up, and the doctors were like, "Hey,
No,
please don't come in here." And then they were like, "No, let us in." The doctor's like, "Oh, okay," and then
Nah.
just let him do it. And then Frankenstein like killed everybody. I was happy about that. I was like,
That's,
thank God, the media got what they deserved.
that made sense. That made sense because they were the media. Thus,
That was
they-
about the
they,
only part of this whole thing that made sense. And then like every point after and before, like actually, I take that back. The bombing scene made sense because I was like, oh, that's right, it's the end of the war. And then it said the date, like August 6th, and I was like, okay, I got it. Cool. Good job. And then everything past that was like, yeah, it didn't make sense.
The opening was a bit abrupt though.
Oh,
I-
absolutely. Yeah. At
can't
first I
say
was
I-
like, I see what kind of movie it's going to be. And then, nope, not that kind of movie.
I wrote down that I wasn't expecting it. Just a hard cut to the bombing mid scene. They're like this. The doctors and the scientists are like talking, and then it just hard cuts to just a nuke going
Yeah.
off.
Well, I
It
mean,
was-
that's kind of what happened.
I'm just saying I wasn't expecting it.
No, of course.
I'm
they
not saying it was
They
bad.
subverted your expectations. It was basically Rogue One, 1965.
Did they
Rogue
get
One
bombed
wasn't
like?
the one that smarted
So
expectations.
did they get bombed
Oh, it totally
before the surgery or after the surgery? Is
Oh, they
that how-
didn't do
is
anything
it-
to it. They were just
oh.
like talking about it. They were like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's Frankenstein's heart.
Yeah,
Boom.
they just stood around the box and they provided exposition, and then the nuke went off.
Oh, how did the kid come about?
That's
to
what I
be?
was
'Cause
saying. I don't-
like, kind of
That's
confused.
a massive plot hole.
No. That's why I was like, I don't remember them specifically saying he was dead body parts. They just said that the heart like grew into a body. I could have sworn
It grew
because
into a
because
body.
they said the heart itself was like irradiated, thus like Frankenstein was immune to
I think they don't know how things work because the heart doesn't make
well okay.
cells.
Okay,
'Cause
well,
I
you also
thought-
don't have an immortal heart. If that's where you're gonna draw the line, you need to reprioritize things.
Because I thought they were like doing surgery on the boy and then they got bombed. And that's,
No,
and he
no.
survived or
I
something.
can see an
The
immortal
boy-
heart being like feasible. Like now a heart spawning a brain and other organs that have nothing to do with what the heart
What are you
does
going
and
off about? I'm
bones.
just saying if you're gonna draw the line.
No,
at-
but I mean like a heart. If you like isolated those cells and told them to like regenerate and stuff, like some stem cell, like study, then like I could see a heart going forever. Yeah, like if it just self-contained regenerated itself. Now, if it starts producing bone, last time I checked, there should be no calcium in your
Anyway,
heart.
I wasn't also.
Don't
I
forget the
also.
sexual organs.
Oh yeah,
I
there
also
shouldn't be any of
wasn't
those in there
expecting.
either.
I also wasn't expecting to see just a dead graphic rabbit. It also just
What?
it hard cuts when the Neanderthal kid is introduced. It hard cuts to like a classroom with a bunch of like 6-year-olds running into the classroom,
Oh
and then
yeah,
they find their
Yeah.
class rabbit like graphically mutilated on the ground.
Well, that was a stupid scene. That
What
had
was that
like
for?
nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, it did. It introduced that he eats like things.
Wow, he eats things and he lives. Oh my god.
I mean,
It was
like,
a stupid scene. I don't think it needed to
he
be
eats
there.
animals is what
I
it
mean,
introduced.
they were trying to be like, hey, suspense, but like he ate a bunny in a classroom?
Yeah.
What?
It was to
What?
introduce the potential threat of
Was
him
this
eating
bunny-
stuff.
Was this bunny a pet of the class or something?
Are you not familiar with pet animals?
Yeah, but not in a classroom.
What are you talking about? Where else do you keep a class animal?
A class animal? Was
A
it
cla- a
explained that it
class-
was a class animal?
A class pet. It's not.
Yeah, was
that.
it explained that it was a class pet?
Well, sure. Where else?
No, it was just a rabbit in the middle of a classroom.
No, you
So
don't
I was
remember
like,
the
yo.
children go. I don't remember what the damn rabbit's
They
name
just
was.
walked in. They were like, "Hey, school!" And then like
Boy,
saw the rabbit.
I
they were
think-
like, "Ha, never mind, no
I think
school."
you were asleep again. That was
Nope,
that was
I
very
was
obvious.
Very awake for that one.
That was very obvious that it was the class pet that was
Well-
mutilated on the ground.
Well, if poor Bonzo the bunny got out of his cage and got eaten by a Frankenstein, I don't feel bad. But like, it was a stupid scene nonetheless. They could have
All
done
right,
without
all right.
it, and
You're
nothing
a-
would have changed.
You're a stupid scene.
He also eats cherries too.
Did he eat cherries?
Cherries?
Remember
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
girl
yeah.
threw him some.
Oh,
food?
oh yeah. They
Oh,
just-
yeah, it's
they
the
I
just-
don't know what
cherries-
exactly
just
what
threw
it
a
was.
jar of-
It's the cherries from Skull Island.
She like.
I'm
wrapped-
sorry,
she,
Pixie
like,
Island
It was
or
like a
whatever.
bag of like goodies, and she just threw it to him.
It was in a jar, wasn't it?
It was in a bag.
Oh, was it a bag?
I
Just,
think
just
she,
like,
like-
just like the cherries
They-
from
they- they-
Skull
yeah,
Island.
they
she
threw
threw a
like a-
jar at
like a
him, glass
giant
jar.
handful of-
Catch.
Go away! Yeah, and then just like Molotov cocktail it.
Mhm.
The main character was at least likable in this one.
What, the blonde guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked him. Yeah. I swore it was the same actor as Mark Jackson, Smooth Criminal, but it was
Negative.
not.
Uh,
What'd you say?
negative.
Okay.
There's the setup in this one I found more interesting than most of the other solo films. I mean, it was unique at least.
Yeah, this one felt a little more. I don't know. It felt a little more engaging than the other ones.
Yeah.
Like especially Dogora. That one, I was like, oh, they came up with like scene by scene, individually, and then just strung them together somehow. This one actually felt like it had a sense of like,
purpose.
yeah, I would say that, but it also kind of felt like satisfying somehow. I don't know how to describe that, but it's like watching it, I was like, okay, well, this is like cohesive and like
You could-
virtually everything that made sense except the scene with the class rabbit. It all
You could clearly tell that they gave a damn
they gave
about
it
this
they
one.
gave a damn.
I also really liked the first scene that Baragon was introduced in, like the effects on that one, where but it was before you actually see him. It was like the one at night on the pier, and like the ground just like starts splitting apart as he like burrows under. I think it was an oil refinery. I think
Okay, which one is Baragon again? Which
the,
kaiju is that?
the monster in
No,
Frankenstein
with the
versus
horn.
no,
Baragon.
I know, but which?
He had a horn. It glowed, right?
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay. Which one's the pterodactyl?
Rodan,
Rodan. Okay.
not present in Frankenstein.
No.
versus
I was
Baragon.
I was picturing Rodan, and I'm like, I don't remember this at all. But no, yeah, it's like it looks like a rhino or something. He's got
It's-
a glowing.
it's,
It looks like a Digimon.
yeah, he looked like it's a fat giant Digimon.
I think you just dated yourself.
This film was from
offense.
1965. How much dated can you get?
No. No, just the Digimon comment. Like, I didn't know Digimon was a thing until like last year.
You know
'cause
that
I was-
it's like remade now, so
what's up?
it's
Digimon's still a
remade.
thing.
Yeah.
No,
like-
I thought they got completely replaced by Pokemon, and then like
No,
they-
it
they've-
never
they're-
came
Still
they've
back.
going
both-
on.
They've both been separate things since Pokemon was a thing, and they're still separate things and ongoing to this day.
See, that's the funny part. I never knew Digimon was even a thing. So, you know.
Well, you're the one who just dated yourself.
Yeah, I'm young, but not like that young. I mean, damn. And like what I did know of Digimon, it seemed very like a late 80s, like, you know, cartoon. Like it did seem like a precursor to Pokemon.
No, it's pretty.
And I was like, oh, okay.
It's still going. There's like new episodes and stuff.
What?
Yeah. Well, same
I thought
thing.
it like
movie
I thought
and
it like
stuff, too.
I thought it
same-
like died in like
There's a
92.
new game.
Oh, same
New
thing
game
with
and
Pokemon.
everything.
No, I know Pokemon's. I know Pokemon's still a thing. I have a friend who died
There's a
playing
Pokemon
Pokemon
detective.
Go.
Yu-Gi-Oh is also still an ongoing thing.
Yeah, but I didn't give a damn about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hey, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth, good sir. I'll banish you to the Shadow Realm right here on the spot. All right, back
you
to
mean you mean hell?
no, the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, okay.
That's we're moving on now.
You're gonna get eaten by the blue eyes white dragon.
Yeah,
Kaiju.
I'm gonna Exodia you into the Nether Realms.
I don't know what the hell is going
Anyway,
on.
so
but-
Frankenstein versus Baragon. The sets look really good, like the forest sets. I thought those looked really good.
Yeah,
What I
they
didn't think
were
looked
nice.
what?
They were nice.
Yeah, I just wished that that Frankenstein was a little more weighted in them.
He was bony.
No,
Pretty
like the sets
Yeah, he looked pretty
themselves.
bony.
The sets themselves looked really good. The problem was that it was obviously a set because it was clearly just a guy walking around a set.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish they like I don't know, told him to like walk around a bit heavier, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like he was like running around and just like
Okay, whatever.
plucking trees out of the set like they were like it was just like twigs.
Like they were made of cardboard or something. Like they were.
Yeah.
Okay, something you said before we started this whole endeavor, back in like late March.
You dated yourself. No.
Yeah, I did. I'm at least a month old. Okay, so something you said was like they shot it at a higher frame rate and then like slowed it down to give the illusion of like
Slower motion.
Yeah,
At least in the
they-
later films.
At least in the later films, yeah, probably everything past the 70s because everything up until this point looks like shit. They definitely did not do that, and I'm very, very disappointed because it's very obvious they're just on a set, especially
I wouldn't say
that one fight in Godzilla Raids Again because they were going like
Okay, well that was
hyper
also
fast motion.
that was also 55.
That doesn't matter. Even 65, they're still basically doing that. You see Kong versus Godzilla. I'm sorry, King Kong versus Godzilla. You know, that was pretty. They were doing some fast stuff there too. So
Yeah.
my point is, it just doesn't look good, and
I would say it looks like shit.
I would say it definitely did because it would look much less like shit if that illusion of like giant sized people or creatures fighting was there. But the fact that it's clearly just dudes in rubber suits walking around a set kills it for me. So I hope these next movies get better, Cody.
Well, past the Showa era, they will in terms of that regard,
And why are we watching so many from the Showa era?
because there are a lot of them in the Showa era.
Why don't we just do the Godzilla ones?
These we are.
Just the Godzilla ones.
Well, we're beyond that. Baragon
too
was a
late now.
savage. There are several scenes where he just walks around and just like. What was the first one? He like just walks up and just eats a bunch of chickens, and then like he walks around. There's like feather clumps just dripping out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And he goes out of his way to destroy a horse carriage just to kill a single horse,
Just to eat it.
just to eat it. Baragon's a
Great.
savage. I enjoyed that one.
He also digs a lot of holes.
Yeah, he's
in the
a digger.
mountains.
And
Not a
then,
gold digger, but a digger.
And then and then I guess they start fighting. The forest gets lit on fire. Smokey's upset, and then Frankenstein. Well, actually, let's talk about the two different cuts that we watched because we watched two different endings.
Yeah,
So in one cut, Frankenstein defeats Baragon. I forget how, but I think he like
Chokes him.
he chokes him out.
chokes
Like,
him out. Cool,
breaks
yeah.
his
Oh
neck.
yeah,
Chokes him
both. But that
Breaks
happens
his
in
neck
both.
or something.
Yeah.
That happens in both.
In-
Yeah, I heard a snap,
Yeah.
just like Gwen Stacy. I heard a snap.
In the Japanese cut, that's basically it. Frankenstein and
Oh yeah,
Baragon,
and
like,
but in the
drop.
Japanese cut, yeah, like the earth opens up and swallows them for no apparent reason because
Yeah.
they needed a conclusion and they obviously got lazy. But then when they did the international version, they had a different ending, and then out of nowhere, this giant octopus that doesn't look like an octopus shows up, and just like for whatever reason attacks Frankenstein, and then he like fights it, and then makes it very apparent that it's like basically just a giant blanket with 8 arms, and then they like fall into the sea because I don't know, fuck it, and then.
You gotta add in the
That's it.
octopus. Just
Yeah,
like,
and then that's it. Yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, instead of him falling into the earth and being like, well, it's probably better he died because he's a monster. Let's wrap it up, boys. And then like the army goes home. Instead, then it's like, oh, well, do you think he survived? I don't know. He could probably hold his breath a while. Well, it's probably better he died anyway because he's a monster. And let's pack it up, boys. And the army goes home. Like they literally just said like, okay, well, maybe he lived. I don't know, but he probably died because he's a monster. Like. There was really no difference, and it was kind of stupid, actually.
Yeah,
Although not as stupid as the Earth opening up for no apparent reason than just eating him whole.
Well, like I mentioned,
that made less
I mentioned
sense.
when we watched it, that one you could interpret that as Baragon was just digging a bunch of holes because there was a section towards the end of that fight.
Yeah,
where
where
Baragon
he
started digging.
Yeah, because Baragon was like subterranean, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, you could interpret it as that. I'm not gonna, but like, whatever.
solid logic.
I would
you could
actually-
interpret it like that, but I'm not gonna. The end.
Because it was just it's that's kind of out there, but you know, more out there
It's
than a
not that
regenerating
far out
heart.
there.
Didn't,
It's definitely not as out there as an octopus just randomly showing up and taking.
No,
him
but at least that one kind of fit the out there tone of everything
that
else.
fit the octopus just randomly shows up.
No.
It's like,
'cause,
yeah, he killed the monster. Huzzah! The end. Oh,
I mean, it was kind of
Nani?
like a hey, he beat one guy. Great. Can he defend his title? And then the octopus comes in, and is like, huh, GG, and just takes him into the sea with him. He's like, if I go, we both go, and that was it.
The octopus came from King Kong, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now we're building a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Before it was just kind of
it's actually
Nah.
it's actually not the same one. It's just it's genuinely just a random octopus.
This is definitely the same one.
It's the
Which is
same-
why they had
the
us.
same
Which is why Cody had us watch King Kong versus Godzilla first.
They started
You're
the
right.
same octopus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same
right.
octopus. It just got a
that's-
costume
that's-
upgrade, kind of
yeah.
like Iron Man.
That's why that's you've discovered the secret. That's why we're watching all these non-Godzilla movies. It's because the octopus is a returning character, and he's actually the one that kills Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And the octopus,
He shoves his tentacles
it
everywhere. and rips him open.
it becomes Godzilla puss in the second era of films, and that's why we're watching these now, because it would be a little too jarring, right? If we go from whatever the last Godzilla movie of this era is to all of a sudden Godzilla puss returns, and you're like,
Yeah, it'd
What?
be like watching
Godzilla puss.
It'd be like watching Alien 3 and then Alien versus Predator Resurrection or something, because it'd be like, oh, first things first, we see an alien. No, I'm thinking of Alien Resurrection, because like that was the one with like the human alien hybrid. So you get that, and then
yeah.
out of nowhere, just a predalien. You know, it's about as logical as that. The Godzilla puss.
Is
So
that
it's
what
a-
you named your cat?
That's
Probably was.
that would be Catzilla.
I hate you.
Let's see. Going back, I also wrote down
Predalien.
similar to the previous films that we've talked about. This one also suffers from a pretty common issue. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I definitely think it would have strengthened the film, which is that I forget which films. It was 2 films, I think.
Did
Physically.
Ishiro Honda run out of time?
No. Narrative wise,
He ran out of money.
No. I felt that this film would have been better if they had kept Baragon a secret until the very end there. I forget. I think Rodan was one of the other films I made a similar comment about. Because the way that this film is set up, at least for Frankenstein's narrative thread, is that everyone's concerned that he's going to start like attacking everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then Baragon shows up and starts destroying cities, and everyone's like, "Oh, Frankenstein's killing everyone." Except we already know it's not Frankenstein.
Yeah. That should have.
It would have been a lot better. Again, similar to a couple other previous films, if they had kept that part a mystery.
That seems a little too advanced for these kinds of movies,
I mean,
narratively speaking.
I wouldn't go that far. It doesn't like kill the film. I just
No. I'm just
it
saying,
would
like,
have made it a little better narratively.
I'm just saying my expectations are very low. I didn't expect them to do anything nearly that clever until maybe the 80s.
You're so hateful.
I'm very skeptical because everything after Gojira has been kind of like weaning they've been entertaining, but very, very declining in quality, I would say.
I thought this one was really good.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the first half maybe I'd agree with you, and then it kind of gets weird, and then I was like, eh.
I mean, it kind of stays consistent throughout the whole thing.
Octopus shows up out of nowhere.
Okay, that's the end of one of the cuts that you yourself made the argument that it wasn't out of nowhere.
I prefer it better than the subterranean
God.
just collapse.
All right. Let's see. I thought the fight in this one was probably the best looking fight out of any of these films so far, at least between Frankenstein and Baragon. Yeah. It probably helped that one of the monsters was just a guy instead of a guy in a suit.
Okay, I could see that.
However, even the fighting itself looked really natural. Like the Baragon suit was very good looking. Like it was very impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
And then even the movements of Baragon, it really was quite impressive. I mean, Baragon was like leaping around a lot, which again helped disguise the fact that it was obviously a guy in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was constantly digging underground. I just thought it was really, really entertaining, and certainly the best visually looking fight so far of any of the previous films. I mean, there was no awkward cuts to hand puppets or anything like that. It was just Baragon and Frankenstein. Especially towards the end when the wall of fire shows up, that was pretty cool, if you ask me. Like visually speaking, they just start fighting against a background of just a huge wall of fire.
Oh yeah, no, that
when
that
Frankenstein chokes Baragon out, Baragon's just caked in red from the fire.
Yeah, no, I like
there's a lot of really good cinematography in this one. And the story was really good.
I'll commend them on the the Hobbit tricks they did for making Frankenstein big. Even those blue screen things that were very obviously blue screen, but it's the 60s, so I didn't
there wasn't even that much of it. At least,
no, I mean,
but
when there was, it was very jarring because it was like, oh, they haven't figured it out yet. But but I mean, kudos because they tried it and it worked, 80% of the way. But yeah, I mean, most of the time when they did the practical stuff to make it look that way, I like that. Switching sets, the doctors are in a normal size set, but then Frankenstein is in a very small set. I like that. Oh, and the severed hand moving, that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, kudos to them. It wasn't it wasn't a spirit store prop.
It actually moved and
it was
actually
around.
moved and walked around and
and it was it wasn't like Thing from the Addams Family very clearly just some dude hidden behind some piece of furniture pretending to be a disembodied hand. It was actually like a clever thing for the 60s. The mid 60s they had an animatronic hand. Or very, very good stop motion, but I think it was animatronic.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think anything in this one was stop motion.
I don't think so either, but
I could be wrong, but I really don't think it was.
I mean, at least it wasn't Godzilla Sparta kicking King Kong down a hill, because that would have been just appalling.
Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to mention? You've been kind of quiet on this one.
Oh, we covered all the notes pretty much.
Okay.
I covered everything.
I didn't take notes.
I jumped in whenever. Yeah.
Okay.
I covered everything.
I'm so tired.
Do you have anything, Sean?
No, I'm too tired to think of anything else.
Cool. Let's move on to some trivia then, yeah? This film's got quite an interesting history.
Oh, God.
It's shocking that it came out as good as it did.
Oh, God.
So as I mentioned, the origins of this film date back to the origins of King Kong versus Godzilla. If for a brief reminder, because it's been a while, if you recall, Willis O'Brien, who was the guy in charge of the animation of the original King Kong film, he pitched King Kong versus Frankenstein to just about everyone who would listen, and everyone who would listen said no, it cost way too much money. Then he met a producer, John Beck, who basically stole the idea and sold it to Toho behind his back, under the title of King Kong versus Prometheus. Toho bought it. However, they replaced Frankenstein with Godzilla, just because they had, they realized the potential in that regard. However, they didn't completely disregard the Frankenstein aspect. They went on to write a script for Frankenstein. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself on that one. Let me back up a second here. They didn't completely ditch the Frankenstein aspect because they wrote a script for a film called Frankenstein versus the Human Vapor.
What is that?
What?
Is that the the other film with the space jelly?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That's all I can think of when you said vapor. It's like,
Frankenstein versus the Human Vapor was to be a sequel for one of Toho's other films called The Human Vapor. Go Shocker.
what? Are we watching that?
Did
No,
they, did
no,
they ever
that's
make
not on
that
our
one?
list. Yeah, no, that one came out in 1960.
Oh, okay.
Frankenstein versus the Human Vapor was just going to be the sequel to that.
It just wasn't worth it.
The Human Vapor was the third film in Toho's like unofficial trilogy called the Mutant Trilogy.
God.
The Human Vapor was about a librarian who is experimented on by scientists and as a result gains the ability to become vapor.
That actually
Okay.
kind of sounds interesting, but did they did it become as big as a kaiju? Because
No.
if it did, I'm gonna be real
No,
upset.
it was just a dude who could become vapor.
So Frankenstein was gonna
Um,
be a normal sized dude.
Well,
fighting
hold
a
on,
normal-sized dude.
I'm getting to that.
who's
This is just the plot recap of the Human Vapor.
Jesus.
The librarian commits crimes in order to gain money for his waifu, and then the police and a reporter work together to solve the case of the magically disappearing
Japan
stuff.
loves the media.
Um,
It like every time it's like, hey, a reporter saved the day. What's it, Steve Martin? You know,
I
Like,
don't know if the reporter
Jesus.
saved the day. I just know that the police and a reporter work together.
I'm being exaggerative, but like,
Um,
yeah, it's
At the end of that film, the librarian's waifu dies, and it's
hell yeah.
it's implied that the librarian dies, except that was going to be rectified in Frankenstein versus the Human Vapor.
Spoiler alert! Anyone seen Seven?
7.
Yeah,
I haven't
Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. What's in the box?
What?
Do you not know that movie?
No.
Cody?
I know the movie. I don't really know
What's
how that applies.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
how does
oh, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
All right,
okay, yeah.
Anyway, so Frankenstein versus the Human Vapor. That script was about the librarian seeking out Frankenstein's monster in order to unlock the secrets of immortality to revive his loved one. Excuse me, his waifu. Because she died in the previous film. That was scrapped in favor of pursuing Frankenstein versus Godzilla. Now, Frankenstein versus Godzilla, they wrote a script for it and everything. And in that script, it involved Godzilla being discovered in an iceberg again.
God damn it.
Another one.
While a separate monster grew from the heart of Frankenstein's monster.
It was supposed to retcon Godzilla 3.
The Japanese self-defense force would lure both monsters to the woods in hopes of Godzilla killing Frankenstein before he could start eating people. This script was also scrapped in favor of Mothra versus Godzilla. However, they repurposed this script into Frankenstein versus Baragon, which minus the iceberg pretty much has the same general outline.
Mhm.
Frankenstein grows from
I mean, they pretty much
Frankenstein's
all
heart.
have the same general outline.
well,
It's just what lore from the kaiju are they going to retcon this time?
I wouldn't necessarily say they all have the same general
It
outline.
pretty much. I've gotten the same feeling every time.
I mean,
much.
things
with the
happen-
exception of Mothra, slightly.
Things happen and monsters fight, but the things that happen are different.
I mean, okay, I lied. Dogora, yeah, that one felt very different.
I
But
mean, that
like,
was
in
a-
a bad way.
That was a bad crime thriller. It was a crime thriller or a mystery crime thriller.
and
I
they
should
just
say.
threw in an alien because.
Yeah.
Although what was the one with the giant meteor that was coming to Earth?
Gorath?
Armageddon, yeah.
Gorath?
There's also Atragon, the submarine thing.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
one felt
I-
different too. Those
Mhm.
two
I think it's
were like the only two that really stood out to me. Everything else after Gojira has kind of felt the same, and I'm like, okay, suspense, more monster, character development, crush the city, same palace gets destroyed, the end. No resolution because they want sequels. Yeah, okay.
I think
Yeah, I'm
you're being a
getting-
bit unfair with the films.
I'm getting tired of this. Damn, Toho needed to stop, but they kept going for another. What is it now? 50 years after that? 60 years after Gojira?
With several long breaks in between.
65 years after Gojira. Actually, it's 2019.
With several long breaks. Anyway, Frankenstein versus Godzilla. Yeah, that was basically they just repurposed that into this script, which again basically just subtracted the Godzilla iceberg plotline, but then replaced it with Baragon, as the rest is basically the same as that script. The alternate ending with the giant octopus was purely requested by American backers who were so impressed by the giant octopus in King Kong versus Godzilla that they wanted one in this one as well. The alternate ending, it was shot specifically for the US, which was then rejected by the producer of the US version, claiming that it was too abrupt. So they shot it all, and then the US producer was like, nah.
Wow.
As we all noticed in the film, there's the American actor who was redubbed into Japanese. His original dialogue was preserved in the US version. I'm assuming they did that just because this was a co-production between Japan and a US production company. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have left it though, because it was.
What do you mean they should have left it?
I mean, left.
It was comically bad.
Yeah, I
dubbing.
mean, like the dubbing was just.
Yeah, his mouth didn't even. It looked like he wasn't even trying. It looked like he was.
just leave it
blabbering about
You
something.
mean they should have left it
like untouched.
like in English?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just put Japanese subtitles.
yeah, exactly. That would have been better. Yeah,
It would have definitely been less jarring. That's for sure.
Oh well.
So
Hey.
that was Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Hey, before we move on, let's take a quick break for a second.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Scores.
Yeah, we're back. Scores. I don't have my notes with me. I don't even think I took notes on this one. I didn't write one down. But overall, I'd say maybe the number coming to my head is an 8, actually.
Mine is 7 again. 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Cody.
Yes. So War of the Gargantuans.
What I give up.
How many Frankenstein hearts do you give it?
I give it
One
what
keyblade.
what was one keyblade? What was the what's the megaton ratio of the atom bomb that nuked Hiroshima? How many megatons is in an atom bomb?
Do we look like we are qualified
I'm bad at math.
for this question?
Yes, you do. Specifically you.
I'm great at math, but like I'm no atomic
Exactly.
physicist.
Exactly.
So,
Joining us today, we have atomic physicist, mathematician, Sean
just
Atomic.
I hate you.
Sean Atomic.
Tell me, Mr. Atomic, how many
Duke
megatons
Nukem.
how many megatons is in an atomic bomb?
69.
Okay, I give this 69 megatons out of 1 eternal heart.
Go fuck yourself.
War of the Gargantuas. Again, this one, we watched this one out of order. That will become important later on. Was that? Oh, that's right. We watched, unfortunately, had to watch the US version because Stars did not have, apparently, the original Japanese version. This episode's brought to you by Stars. Please fix that.
Stars in the sky.
Stars in the sky.
We
Yes,
have no
bye.
sponsors. Don't ever listen to Cody.
The sponsor. We are sponsored today by Stars.
No, we're not.
As in the stars in the sky.
Or that.
Sure.
Was that.
The things that burnt out millions of years ago.
No, what is that? That planet one?
Gorath?
Yeah. Sponsored by it.
Today's sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Gorath.
The actual monster, not the movie.
Well, I was talking about the meteor.
That's right. Sorry, it's not alive.
That's
meteor.
today's sponsor. Rest in peace. If you're listening to this, you probably still have time to get away, but probably not because it's going to destroy the moon. So the War of the Gargantuas. Let's see. I'm gonna.
I give it a 4 out of 10.
I'm
You
gonna.
just jumped.
I don't have anything to say on it. It's
I don't even know how to recap this one. The U.S. version, at least.
maybe a 5 out of 10. I liked the main character. He looked pretty cool.
Which one? The brown Yeti?
No.
Yeah, which
The
Gargantua?
doctor. The doctor.
Oh,
Oh, you mean the
guy
human.
the guy they recast the Mark Jackson lookalike with.
the
He's
human.
got like he's got like
The
curly
human.
brown hair. I don't know if he was supposed to be the same doctor, but like
no, it wasn't.
cool. Well, yeah. So anyway, he looked.
oh, that doctor. Okay.
Yeah. They got the curly brown hair there. You know. He was a very very attractive man, I would say, and I liked it. But
He charmed a lady.
yes, he did. He charmed me. Damn it.
You charmed a big brown guy.
I'm tan. Damn you.
Not you.
Talk about Greg.
Oh, he was like big hairy brown guy. I was like, hey, I'm tan and I'm Greek, but lay off. Yeah, no.
So this film opens with a boat being attacked by a very familiar looking giant octopus.
Godzilla.
Giant octopus.
Oh yeah, King Kong versus Godzilla.
Well, I was gonna say look familiar because it's the same octopus from Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Wow, so it's a sequel now, is it?
No, not continuity wise.
Cinematic universe.
No.
Excuse me.
As in they to not have just wasted the alternate ending. They just took the octopus prop they made. Which I mean makes sense. You know, if you made it, why not? It looked good.
It's almost like for whatever reason, just using the Black Panther outfit I got for us that we never ended up using.
Anyway,
Thanks, Cody.
Anyway, so yeah, it opens with a boat being attacked by an octopus, and then the octopus is attacked by a giant hairy guy. And then it follows another American scientist in Japan as two hairy guys show up in Japan and start duking it out. That's about the best I can do on the U.S. cut. I did not like the U.S. cut. The English American cut was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I could barely pay attention. So.
And it was really,
it actually were we watching the American cut?
Do you not remember everything being in English?
Yeah, there's no subtitles for that one.
No, you know what's funny? I do remember the subtitles, but it was because it was in English that we like took off the subtitles, and I was like, "What the hell? Why are they giving us subtitles if it's in English?" Because at first I was kind of weirded out. I'm like, "Oh, look, like help in Japanese is just help, right? Because it's subtitled help, and it sounds like help."
Mm-hmm.
But then it wasn't, and then they started talking in English. I was like, "Why the hell do we have the subtitles?"
Yeah.
And then I probably fell asleep at some point there.
Nice.
I will admit I fell asleep through this one because it was less entertaining than the last one, I thought.
I was awake, but I just couldn't pay attention.
It
yeah,
was
the minute they were like, hey, instead of a weird looking, sort of resembling the other Frankenstein, this Frankenstein is an ape. I was done. I quit. Also, they retconned the entirety of...
Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Exactly. So, like, loose sequel, I think not. I think it was just kind of a...
They had a flashback, and it was just a monkey.
Yeah, let's start with the U.S. cut because I'll get into what the differences with the Japanese version more. The Japanese version is more so the sequel. This one is basically just a standalone film.
It was the 1990 Terminator 2, the unofficial one.
What?
There was a Terminator 2 that came out in like 1990. That was like totally unofficial. It was a totally unofficial sequel, and then James Cameron was like, $100 million budget T2 Judgment Day, suck it. So nobody ever remembers the other one, but whatever. It's basically that. It was like, hey, sequel? I think not. Retcon everything. They're now apes, and they're gonna fight, and they look ugly as hell.
Yeah,
I hated those costumes.
Oh yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were ugly beyond sin.
That was not pretty. I used to be related to Mary Shelley. She would be rolling over in her grave right now if she saw that shit.
Yeah. This was really bizarre. Even more so bizarre, some of these trivia notes I have on specifically this version of the film, the US version. But we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I don't know what it was about this one. I mean, the dubbing itself, I guess, was fine. Like it wasn't like comical like some of the Godzilla dubs are, but I don't know, just maybe it was the audio mixing on this. Like I couldn't hear shit. I don't know about you, but like everything was like really low volume and everything was at the same volume. So like all the talking, like the important expository dialogue was at the same volume as the goddamn monster screeching and buildings exploding. so I couldn't hear anything, which might cause a bit of confusion for me on my end. But it was just kind of like everything. I don't know. Everything just kind of sucked, really.
Just
Unfortunately,
blended in together
Yeah,
for me.
uh,
All I remember really from the story was one monster came out of the sea, and then the other one just was there.
was there?
Like,
Yeah,
on the mountain.
there's a green giant and there's a brown giant, and yeah, the green one came out of the ocean, and
Where'd
the brown
the-
one is just kind of chilling there.
I don't
I
know
don't know
where
if
the
you can say
brown one came
brown.
from.
I don't think that's PC.
Dirt.
Yeah,
Dirty
well,
one.
No, I feel like that's not PC either.
there's a green one
Tan?
and there's a darker shaded green one.
There's a coffee colored one. There we go. You can say that one.
I don't know. Starbucks might.
They're our
There's a-
sponsor. What are you talking about?
There's a no. Our sponsor.
Right?
Our sponsor's Gorath. Rest in peace.
Our
Um,
sponsor's Pete's Coffee.
There's a green one that came from the ocean, and there's a trash bag monster that's just kind of
Oh,
chilling there.
Jesus. You can't say that. That's not PC, Cody.
Of course I can.
There's just a monster and a green monster, just so we can distinguish. The green one is clearly not an alien. We're not talking about aliens.
Clearly is green and came from the ocean.
Here. Yeah. But the other monster, the monster is
The other monster.
The other monster.
well, I can't say a color because it's not PC. So just the other monster.
Capital
is,
M monster.
Yes, monster trademark is
Just kind of chilling there.
yeah, he's supposed to be Frankenstein, is he not?
Um.
Or was that the green one?
Um.
Or was it the blue monster, Sully from
I'm
Monsters,
pretty
Inc.?
sure. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong because again I couldn't hear anything.
Copyrighted.
But I'm
Pixar's gonna
pretty
sue.
sure. I'm pretty sure they tried to retcon the brown monster into being
You
the
can't say
same
that.
Frankenstein because of the flashback.
Mhm.
I could be wrong because I couldn't hear anything, but that's what I got the impression of in the U.S. version at least.
Does Ishiro Honda like not give a shit about continuity? Because he's like, let's just make
Again-
another movie. Oh, by the way, throw that old costume out. We don't need that bony man back here. We can just make a new gorilla suit, and
Again,
then that's our new monster. But we'll just call him Frankenstein.
I have to stress you don't consider this the same as the original. This is a vastly different film than the Japanese cut. In which case these aren't issues.
What do you mean? Does the Japanese one have the bony guy return and reprise his role?
No, I'll get to that.
Then problem.
I'll get to that. But yeah, the Japanese version does have ties to the original. Not the original. The first film, the previous film. This one seemingly does not.
Really?
Unless I missed something again.
I mean, was it drastic enough to where like, I would actually understand? Oh, he
Yes.
went into the sea and like ate a pill or something that like made him grow hair.
that's exactly
then-
what happened. Did you read the script?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
What kind of pill?
He took an irradiated atomic pill and then followed
You
it with
did
a
read-
shot of hydrogen gas. Like,
You
I don't
did
know.
read this script.
I hate you so much.
You mean it was a testosterone?
They're
pill.
like, by the way, if you give him the blue pill and the atomic pill, he will get big in more ways than one.
A big
And,
burly man in sunglasses asked, "Do you want the green pill or the brown pill?"
And he's
one of them took the green pill, one of them took the brown pill.
and it didn't change anything except their size, their hair growth, and
The color
made
of their
them
the
ugly.
skin.
color of their skin. Yeah,
So they were ugly from the beginning.
I took
This is the Ugly Duckling, 1956. 1956.
Two ugly ducklings. One's nice, one is just
I took the white
Mad.
pill.
Anyway,
Okay, I took the white pill.
yeah, I really did not enjoy the U.S. version, which is interesting for a couple reasons I'll get into.
Have you
in
seen
just a
the
minute.
Japanese version?
No, I said I haven't seen this one, which is why I was so surprised that this one wasn't the Japanese cut when it should have been. Anyway, so some issues I did have with the film, regardless of the cut.
Everything.
No. The hook wasn't really nearly as interesting as Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Oh God, no, it wasn't.
I mean, again, like there's a much better hook in the Japanese cut, but it's not as interesting as Frankenstein versus Baragon.
I actually, you know what? I have to disagree now that I think about it. I would argue that the hook of this one, the opening scene on the boat in this stormy night.
So yeah, that was really cool, and the effects were really good on that.
Okay, no, I agree with that. No, but it was very, very engaging because at first I was like, another kaiju movie, But then tentacles showed up, and I was like, "Is this a Japanese production?" And Kay was like, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Oh my god, I think we're about to watch hentai." And then the tentacles kept going, and I was like, "Oh my god, I think we're about to watch hentai." And then this dude was screaming help, and I was like, that's a little rapey. I don't like that. But then the tentacles disappeared, and then I was like, what the hell? And then an ugly ass swamp looking ape showed up on screen. They're like, hey, that's Frankenstein. I lost interest, but that opening was really engaging. I thought I was going to be watching something very interesting. And I don't remember the octopus ever coming back.
It doesn't.
Cool.
No, it just died.
So they just wanted me to like pay attention for 10 minutes and then lose interest completely.
Basically.
Okay, I see.
I mean, the opening wasn't unironically interesting, but when I say the hook, I mean like the actual plot. Like,
Yeah.
Like Frankenstein versus Baragon, like sure, like
Kind of like the opening scene of
cut
The
out-
Dark Knight, like you know,
well, no,
the
no,
bank.
cut
heist.
out,
That's
cut
a
out
good
in
hook.
Frankenstein versus Baragon. Cut out the opening like 5 to 10 minutes.
With so remove the octopus completely from history.
No. Frankenstein versus Baragon. Remove
I'm sorry.
Remove the World War II aspect.
Yeah, remove that completely.
I'm talking everything past that. That was still a much more interesting setup
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
than even the Japanese version of this one. Granted,
Yeah.
the Japanese version of this one far more interesting. I don't know about entertaining because I haven't seen it, but at least the details are more interesting than this one because at least it has details. But the other issue that I had with this one, which would more than likely translate to the Japanese one too, is I just kind of felt like the monster scenes just kind of dragged on. Like the monsters, like they just kind of dick around.
Yeah, I put that in my notes too.
There's like I believe there's 2 main sequences with the monsters, and they both just last like way too long. The first one I think is in the woods, right? Oh yeah. The first one, yeah. The first, at least the major one, is when the green one's walking around the woods at night, and the Japanese self-defense force are trying to fight it off.
I forgot all about
Japanese
that.
Defense Force.
Self-defense force.
Does it actually say that?
Yeah, that's Japanese. That's Japan's actual military, the self-defense force.
They don't actually attack anything. They just self-defend. One soldier's under attack, he defends himself. The army doesn't come in and do anything about it.
Anyway,
Everyone for themselves when Godzilla shows up.
anyway, yeah.
Why wouldn't you be? I would be all for
They're
myself.
firing off rounds from the tanks because they're like, we need to protect this tank. Like, it's
For myself.
not the people of Japan.
Yeah, that whole sequence where they're just attacking the green one, I felt that one just kept going on and on and on.
I didn't feel like that at all.
You're probably asleep.
I woke up at the end of the fight was happening. I was like, oh, who won?
Oh, and what I remember is that then like his skin or something came off, and then that would create more
What?
monsters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something like
no.
that, right?
Yeah,
I think I remember that because I don't know.
They're
Maybe it was interesting or something.
They're gonna populate
They
the earth.
yeah
It was like his
they
skin ripped off.
Godzilla's-
And then, like,
they mentioned that as a possibility.
One day Godzilla's gonna be walking along the beach and he's gonna come across a half buried that palace that he keeps destroying.
yeah.
He's gonna come across a half buried palace, and he's gonna fall to his knees, and it's gonna be translated into you maniacs, you blew it up, damn you all to hell. But of course it's Godzilla, so it's gonna be like, and then there's just gonna be like Frankenstein apes walking around the planet talking and stuff like Caesar is home, I'm sorry, Frankenstein is home,
You say Caesar?
yeah, I was making a Planet of the Apes reference, but but it's gonna be like Frankenstein apes. So, and Godzilla's gonna be Charlton Heston. So, if they keep fighting and they keep losing chunks of skin everywhere, then it grows another immortal heart and
Yeah.
then another immortal body. Then it's like, okay, well, they're just gonna keep growing, and then there's gonna be no humans left. Actually, maybe not, because every time there's a fight, then the very next fight, it's gonna be a different movie, and continuity gets changed completely. So humans might still be around. But they'll be fighting. They'll be fighting for a while.
They'll be retconned into being Neanderthals, just like Frankenstein was.
Yeah, exactly. They'll just be like, "Hey, by the way, this one takes place 1965." BBC. I'm sorry. Wait, no.
BBC.
No.
Just say
I
the
was gonna
Stone
say-
Age. This
I was
one
gonna
takes
say-
place
I was gonna say
in the
before-
Stone Age.
I was gonna say BC, but then I'm like, that's gonna be further back. BBC is in like before BC,
Christ.
But then I'm like, no, that's something
BBC.
different. That's not PC. That's
Isn't that like a news?
It is.
BBC.
This one
It
takes
is.
place in BBC, the news network.
It is. I was thinking something else, but yeah.
We're coming to you live. Sorry.
Translated, we are coming to you, with the American dub, we are coming to you live.
Yes, of course. But it'll,
From
it'll
Okinawa, Japan.
but it won't completely replace the original audio, so you'll still hear faint like
oh yeah, just
yeah. But like
but their mouths
louder.
are clearly just like screaming, but it's
Yeah.
like where I would pay to see that actually.
Anyway, the end fight I also felt like dragged on way too long.
The movie dragged on too long.
I mean, this is also true, but specifically the monster scenes, which is just kind of disappointing.
One was like fighting for good, and the other was just like no.
Yeah. Not really explained in the US version, at least. They just start beating the crap out of each other.
All I can tell is by their body language, and one was just
It's-
like shaking its head. And the other one
That's
was
not
like,
true. I shouldn't say that. It is heavily implied why they start fighting in the US version through visuals, because the green one eats those hikers on the mountain, and the brown one like sees everyone, and then it just kind of gets angry, but it's
I didn't even know it's so. It just plucked up some hikers and just ate them.
yeah, you don't remember that?
No, I don't
Yeah, in the movie, like there's a bunch of hikers towards like the like middle, or not middle, towards the end of the second act of the film. There's a bunch of hikers just like merrily cheering as they hike up this like dark, like foggy hill. I mean, not dark. It was sunlight, but it was like really foggy, like overcast.
I don't remember any of this.
Of course, 'cause you're probably asleep.
The only part I remember is like the same chick from the last movie, but a different dude, and they're talking about like they're talking to some reporters, and they're like, "Hey, so yeah, we raised Frankenstein here," which obviously wasn't the last continuity, but it showed like a little baby ape thing, and I really got flashbacks of like James Franco and Caesar, like I'm gonna raise him, and then like he just throws a fit and kills people, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I'll put him in the wild," and then that was the end of the flashback, but I do remember that much. And then I pretty much after that point, I was like,
Anyway, yeah, the green one eats some hikers, and the brown one gets angry.
that sounds fun, actually.
But it's not really like
was it
nothing.
very clearly like a Polly Pocket that they were holding and then just ate it?
No, like it showed like the tattered clothing, and I think a little bit of blood, like
Oh.
on the clothing.
That's progressive.
They
They didn't show blood back then.
well, I mean, they showed
except with dead rabbits.
punches in people's face.
but yeah,
Wait, what?
in,
Wait, hold on. People have been punched in the face and bled in these
yeah.
movies?
Have you been
Yeah,
asleep
you
for like all of
never,
these? There's been
like-
plenty of blood so far in like throughout just all of these movies.
What?
People are constantly like I was it
I think it was Rodan, but I remember.
Okay,
Rodan-
hold on. I'm not
Rodan-
talking about like battle damaged people. I'm talking about like
in I believe
I'm talking about like basic, like if I socked you in the face and your nose bled down
Yeah,
your
it
chin.
was-
in
Really?
Yeah.
well, okay, you were asleep for Ghidorah. Someone's like, was it Ghidorah or was it Mothra versus Godzilla? It was one of the Godzilla
one of
movies where someone's trying to steal a bunch of money in a house.
Yes, yeah.
Which one was that? Do you remember? I want to say it was Ghidorah, but that might have been Mothra versus Godzilla. I think it was
Oh my
Mothra
God, I
versus
can't remember
Godzilla.
These
exactly
movies
which
are like
one.
the days of my life. They just start to blend. You
Turn
lose
on
track.
the blender, make a smoothie.
The only time I can tell which ones were which were the two that were in black and white. I'm sorry, the three that were in black. and
Either
white.
way, yeah, there's been plenty of blood so far. Like someone got like beat up
Has anyone
and
been
like his
shot?
face. What?
Has anyone been shot? Oh yeah. The chick from Dogora got shot.
Yeah, I don't.
But I
think
mean,
there's-
no
don't think-
blood or nothing.
There's been no blood from gunshots, but I contribute that more to they probably didn't have squibs. but-
they had giant rubber monster suits and miniature sets and like pyrotechnics up the ass.
Well,
but they
'cause
didn't-
also
they
keep in
didn't
mind-
have squibs.
Also, keep in mind, like they made a conscious effort to never like put the pyrotechnics on the suits because when they did, the suits caught on fire.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
So I doubt if they
but-
weren't that confident with the pyrotechnics on suits.
but I mean, I made a conscious decision not to swear. But I mean, I threw it out the window for this one. So they could have just been like, "Hey, let's try to make a squib."
And
because
then blow
we tried
someone
everything
up.
else we could for special effects in these movies.
And then blow someone up.
I mean, just get it on camera and that it's worth it.
Anyway, yeah, Yeah, I didn't really, I really didn't like the U.S. version of this one.
Well,
It
but can
was-
you say that if you know, haven't seen the Japanese one?
I can't say I like the Japanese one more.
But you can say you didn't.
I can
like the,
I
yeah,
can
okay.
I can say I don't like the U.S. version, and I can
Given.
say that I can point out what the differences are, and they're pretty significant.
Yeah, given. Okay. You just can't really compare them.
Yeah, I can't compare them, which I'm not. I'm just saying that the monster fights dragged on a bit, which probably translates to both cuts,
Probably.
and that
Might
it-
even be
the-
longer
the-
in the Japanese
the setup isn't as interesting, which also probably translates to both cuts.
So
Anyway,
what would you rate it?
Yeah, what's your score?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
3 out of 10. No, 2 out of 10.
Do you have anything else you wanted to?
2.5.
Any other-
It's getting smaller.
Kingdom Hearts 2.5. No,
I'd give
all
it
my
a,
notes are covered. It just jumped right in.
officially Birth by Sleep is basically Kingdom Hearts 0, correct? It's like the earliest
No.
in the chronology.
Nope.
It's not.
Nope.
Is there one that takes place before Birth by Sleep?
Correct.
Which is
The mobile game.
I hate you.
I'm not kidding.
I hate you. All right. Well, I think I'll give it a Birth by Sleep out of 10.
Oh, you
So
actually thought it was
basically-
really good.
Basically 0.2.
Birth by Sleep is regarded as one of the best Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh no, I'm talking about its placement. Because if she gave it a Kingdom Hearts 2.5,
Oh,
to
I
give it a
see.
Kingdom Hearts 3 or something would be like more than. But Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is a prequel to like 1, so I'm gonna say like it's less than 1 out of
I
10
see.
for me.
I see.
You know what? Damn it! I might give it a Kingdom Hearts 1.5 because I did like the new Doctor. I liked him a lot. He was a charming looking man, but more so than the other guy, the blonde guy from Frankenstein versus
Really? You
The
like
monster.
this guy more? I like the other guy more.
what, the blonde guy?
They're both blonde.
No, the other guy was brunette.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked him. I liked him more. I don't know. Maybe it was the curly brown hair, and I felt more welcoming from him. The other guy, I felt like could have easily been one of the German doctors from the beginning, and I wouldn't have been so comfortable.
I'll put it
but-
this way: I like the American actor from Frankenstein versus Baragon,
Baragon,
whichever colored hair he had. I liked him.
No,
more
I mean
than-
I liked him too. I like this guy more. He had a more welcoming face. He reminded me of Sean Astin.
yes,
You don't know who that is, do you?
no.
So Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, yes. Oh, Sam.
he reminded me of him. He's cute.
So yeah, any final thoughts before I get into the interesting trivia? No.
No.
Okay, so
Insert cricket noises.
so here's what I got on War of the Gargantuas. As we've already established, the U.S. version essentially retcons the film as a standalone feature. In the film, they refer to the creatures literally as the green Gargantua and the brown Gargantua. Thus, I can say it because it's their names in the U.S. version, at least. That's not accurate in the Japanese version, though. Not only did they have names, they had backstories.
Whoa.
In the Japanese version, the green one was called Gaira, and the brown one was called Sanda.
Gyra.
And it was
Santa? What?
Sanda.
Oh.
Santa.
I was like Santa and Grinda?
Yup.
By the way, Grinda was the name of the DJ at the club I was at
Yup.
last night. So
Anyway,
And Sansa was the person you hooked up with?
Santa was the guy on the pole.
so to my
I said
best
Sansa, not Santa.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
to my best knowledge, to my best recollection, because again the mixing on the U.S. version is pretty poor. The U.S. version implies that the brown one is Frankenstein from the previous film. That's
I
not the
hope
case
so.
in the Japanese version.
Oh,
In the Japanese version, neither of them are the original Frankenstein. They're both offspring of Frankenstein.
that's a lot
What?
better because Frankenstein got freaky with an ape
They're
and then had some kids. And
Nope,
that makes
they're
yep.
offspring in the sense that they spawned from cells of Frankenstein, because they did establish,
Oh, so it's like Venom.
yeah,
Oh.
they're offspring in the sense that they're borderline clones.
Oh,
They're mutations
God,
that
damn.
spawned from Frankenstein's cells that splattered everywhere in Frankenstein versus Baragon. Also, that flashback in the Japanese version was not Frankenstein. That was Santa. That was the brown one, who was explained the scientist raised until it escaped into the woods.
See, Santa's not just an old white guy. He's a
He's
brown ape.
He's a big brown guy.
He's a big brown guy.
Gyra, the green one, that one grew up underwater, thus turned vicious and became a man eater.
See, I liked how the green one would have been underwater because that kind of makes sense. Like, just algae stained fur.
Yeah,
I can accept that.
I mean,
But Frankenstein turning into an ape all of a sudden and like retconning his past, I can't accept that.
well, again, it's not Frankenstein.
No,
It's-
yeah, but the Americans said it was, so I was like, I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But And wait a minute, hold on, that doesn't make sense because America already had like a long running like Frankenstein franchise, so we all knew what the hell Frankenstein looked like. So when they get this Japanese port, basically, are they like, okay, well, we're gonna still call it Frankenstein, but like not change it? Because I mean, why would we? As opposed to, just calling Godzilla and changing it to Gigantus.
From what I
They could
understand,
have totally changed this and been like, hey, it's Ape Man
from what I understand,
and his wife.
the reason
Beating
for
each-
that,
I don't know.
uh,
That would have been more acceptable than like,
A
suddenly,
complicated relationship.
hey, American Frankenstein fans, this isn't him, but go see it because Frankenstein's in the title. Like, I would have been so upset.
from what I understand, the reason for that is because unlike something like Gigantus, which was sold to a company, this was a co-production. As in the U.S. production company like financed it and helped produce it. Thus, they couldn't really make drastic changes like that. That's why they also requested in the last film the alternate ending instead of just outright making it themselves. As opposed to something like Gigantus, which I believe the rights were just outright sold to. Thus, they can do whatever they wanted.
So basically, it's like, hey, Marvel, you get Spider-Man back. Just kidding, we own him. You can
Yeah.
do whatever we say.
Yeah,
But,
similar situation, I guess.
It can go in your MCU, but we get final say. Also, we're gonna make our own stuff as well.
I mean, something to that degree. It's not quite a licensing deal. It's a co-production from the ground up.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, but like
Like they
still, if it's like if they were gonna get the rights to releasing it here, that would have been a licensing thing because like they could have co-produced it as Frankenstein versus whoever. What was it again? Were the Gargantuans?
this one, yeah, this the
And
second
then
one.
and then like one of the names in the Japanese one was Frankenstein. They could have easily just redubbed the name, but I feel like that was a licensing problem, and they were like, "Yeah, you have to do what you said you did." And I'm
Probably.
like, okay.
They did redub and completely retcon the actual Gargantua's names. They just decided to keep the Frankenstein aspect, I guess.
Yeah, that was stupid. but whatever.
Anyway, that was the yeah, since the brown one in the Japanese version was raised by humans, it was naturally friendly to humans, while its brother was not, which is why they start fighting because the brown one finds out that his brother is eating people, and that's a no-go. Which also explains why at the very end the brown one really doesn't put up a fight. It just constantly is like holding up its arms, like, no, don't stop. I don't want to kill you. You are the chosen one. I have the high ground.
Beat you.
God damn.
And anyway, those are the significant changes.
Now Disney's gonna sue us. 'Cause,
Those are
like
the-
they own Lucasfilm, and you can't do that.
You're right. I apologize. This episode's sponsored by Disney.
I will
What do
I will
they-
quit my job right now.
So do they like own almost everything now?
They pretty much do own everything, actually.
Except War of the Gargantuas. So that was the Japanese differences mostly. Is again, it gives them names, establishes them as their own characters and not Frankenstein. It gives them backstories, which again puts the entire film in its own context instead of just trying to retcon everything, which I appreciate. Again, I can't say if it's better or not.
Mhm.
I imagine it is better. I don't know how much better it is. For as I mentioned, those problems probably still translate over with it just kind of dragging on in places. Those were the differences between the Japanese and the U.S. version. This was okay. So as I mentioned, this was out of order. We
Mhm.
should have watched this one after the next one we're going to be watching. And I only mention that because this film was the third and final collaboration between Toho and this specific
American company.
this specific studio. The second collaboration is the next film we're going to be watching.
Okay.
But this was the third and final one. And not only that, unfortunately, this was also the final film of Ishiro Honda's contract. And Toho told him that he would have to renegotiate on a film-by-film basis in the future if he wanted to continue making movies with them.
So wait, did he direct the next one?
Yes, because technically that one came before this.
Oh. Okay.
That's what I mean by it. This is the only instance where those dates really
So
are
the
important.
last one that with the ape Frankensteins,
War of the Gargantua.
That was Ishiro Honda's last one.
That was the last film of his contract. He's still going to be making a couple more in the future.
But he had to fight for them.
Yeah, he wasn't doing them annually anymore. He only does a couple more.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
so he had to like fight for them because he's like, hey, I can make a movie.
More or less. It's not entirely known why they just just chose not to renew his contract. However, a lot of fingers are pointed to the American actor in this film because apparently Ishiro Honda and him just did not get along on set. I guess that American
Oh, the
actor,
brown-haired guy that I like?
whoever was in War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah, the brown-haired guy that I like.
Yeah, I guess he was a real dick.
Oh, that's so satisfying. I
Uh,
very clearly have a type and I make bad choices.
Reportedly, he just absolutely refused any of Ishiro Honda's direction
Mhm.
and would often just do the complete opposite of what he was told. And he, I guess, reportedly, he just thought all the dialogue was atrocious, and so he just improvised all of his dialogue,
Oh my god, it sounds like me.
despite what anyone would tell him to do.
It sounds like me.
Which is not a good thing to admit.
No, but I mean, it totally sounds like me.
So yeah,
It's-
everyone on
Jesus.
set, I guess, did not like this guy. Everyone thought he was a dick. He was not brought back for any future productions.
Well, probably not because they retconned him out anyway.
It's a different character.
It doesn't matter. They would have retconned him out anyway.
So yeah, that is theoretically why Toho chose not to renew Ishiro Honda's contract, because they would often get into little heated arguments on set in a very stressful environment. This was also filmed under a extremely tight window.
Yeah, they should maybe not do that.
This film was released on July 31st, 1966. The final draft of the script was completed on April 23rd, 1966.
Yeah, they clearly shot something that day. Took the film immediately to the cutting room. They cut it somewhere and put it together, and they never looked back. As soon as they shot something, it was in, and they're like, "All right, well, too late. Let's just keep going." Made a movie. Let's go put it out now.
More or less, they completed the whole thing
Damn.
minus the script in 3 months.
How not to make a movie?
I mean, it's still impressive regardless, but it was
No,
that's
it's impressive, but like
not-
the final product.
not the conditions you want to be making films in.
But like the final product,
This film
now
also
if it was something like Halloween, like shot in like 22 days, yeah, that's impressive. This, I don't know.
it definitely is impressive with all the special effects they had to do. And all
Okay,
the
yeah,
sets.
with all the special effects, I'd say sure, but like the actual final product,
Anyway,
now, if they made a genuine, unironic masterpiece, then I'd be very impressed. But this was not that. This was
I would
not
be
Halloween.
surprised. I would be surprised if this was the the random masterpiece.
No, I know, but that's my point. Is like in that amount of time, I'm
Although
not surprised it
although
turned out like it
that
did.
that does bring me back to the U.S. version in just a second, because some people might beg to differ. Some people might beg to differ.
I don't care what they think.
Well,
This is about our opinions. We're the legit day job. Only our opinions are legit. Nobody else is legit.
Nobody else has legit
So,
opinions.
Yeah, no, because they don't. Did they work in the hardships that we do? Do they ever see the sun? They do. We don't. Do they get to eat? They do. We don't. We get opinions. They don't.
So
It's only fair.
I'll get to that, but first, the last just random trivia note that I have on this would be that this film marks the first appearance of the the iconic maser cannons, which are
Jesus.
the vehicles with they're like You remember the satellite dishes from
Mysterians.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically took those satellite dishes and slapped them on a tank. And those are maser cannons. They're tanks with like instead of a barrel, like a turret, replace that with a long arm with a satellite that shoots maser electricity. Those are going to be very quickly established as a mainstay for the entire franchise. And this was their first appearance. So the more bizarre note, which again, this is all of what I'm about to say is specifically the US version, the one that we watched. So in 2012, during the 2012 Oscars, Brad Pitt revealed that he discovered his love of cinema from this film specifically.
What?
Brad Pitt cited this film specifically as his inspiration for getting into cinema. Quentin Tarantino based an entire fight in Kill Bill Volume 2 off of this film specifically, going as far as having the stunt doubles of said fight study this film so that they could reenact it. And now that I've read that, I cannot unsee said fight sequence because it is very apparent that it is clearly reenacting the final fight of this film. And also Guillermo del Toro has gone on record to state that not only this film, but also Frankenstein vs. Baragon are among his top favorite kaiju films of all time. And that this film specifically directly influenced Pacific Rim. So there you go. Brad Pitt, Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro. All heavily influenced by the US cut of this film specifically.
I say produced by Guillermo del Toro, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Brad Pitt. A remake of both of these movies coming in 2021 and 2022.
If only.
Mhm.
If only.
I think they will.
So that's going to wrap it up
That'll
for this.
be Quentin Tarantino's 10th film. Basically just like Kill Bill, we treat it as one even though it's two.
I think I'd prefer if Guillermo directed it.
Well, then fuck it. We'll have Quentin produce it.
Well, we'll have Quentin Tarantino.
Then they'll have
he'll,
blood gags everywhere. Hell yeah.
We'll have Quentin do a remake of Dagora. I think that's more up his alley.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode.
Before we stop.
Before we stop,
Word from
I
our
have
sponsors.
word from our sponsors,
I have
legendary Gorath.
No, I have a. By the way, it's like a couple years away, so you only got so long to get to Mars, guys. Hit up what's his name, Tesla CEO.
If you're listening to this, you're probably already screwed.
Probably, yeah. If you're not gone already, I mean,
hey, how you doing?
We've accepted our fate, so I mean, just yeah.
'Cause we're chained here.
Seeking a friend for the end of the world. Okay, marketing expert. Aside from the YouTube channel where whatever audience we have is listening to this right now, do we have anything else that like they can hear this on?
Go support us on Patreon.
Shut up.
On Facebook.
On Facebook? Okay. Can you do polls on Facebook?
Yeah, we can do polls.
Okay, cool. So to whatever audience we have, first of all, on behalf of me and Kay, thank you for listening. On behalf of Cody, hit that unsubscribe button and that dislike button.
Hit that unsubscribe button. Dislike all of our videos, please. It'd really help out the channel.
Yeah. So
post-
for those of us who are
Post
trying
some
to,
nasty stuff. Please.
Yeah, please entertain me.
Okay,
throw
well,
anything
Leave
you
your
got.
worst comment.
on behalf of me and Kay, who try to maybe take this seriously, I don't know.
Oh no, man, you're the one throwing F-bombs around.
I've already told you we're not getting monetized for this. I can't see any way that we're gonna make money on this. But my point is, go to how about we set something up? They go to our Facebook and we ask them.
We need more Facebook views. That would be nice.
Well, I mean, yes. So obviously, go there. Tell all your friends about it. Any weeaboos you guys know, please have them at least just play one of these, just so that it says we have a view. But go to our Facebook, and we'll set up a poll or something. Do you want to hear like everything we're talking about, or do you want us to change it up somehow? Do you want us to like cut it short and give you like spark notes about everything, or like, you know, like do you want to hear all the behind the scenes stuff, or are you like, nah, do you want us to, you know, give some other type of content concerning these movies that we're watching? Because we're not going to stop that, but like it's too late. We have to keep going now.
Yeah.
But I mean, between now and the end of May, you know, as far as like what we talk about on the podcast, do you guys like it? Do you not like it? Give us your feedback, because you're like the only reason we're doing this, except for that Cody just wants to. But otherwise, like for the purpose of our job, you guys are keeping us employed. So please give us your feedback, and then we'll do what you say. We are public servants.
Except to the stars, which are our sponsors.
I hate you. What are we watching next week?
Tomorrow.
Oh, is
Today.
that it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, today. My bad. I mean, yeah, that was pretty much it. I've already, just go to Facebook, take a poll, or leave comments on YouTube. Like we'll check those out too, but like the polls would help because we get to see stats.
And like the page.
Yes, and like the Facebook page.
Yes.
But this like the
Dislike
YouTube
the videos.
video, yeah.
Unsubscribe. Hit that. Smash that unsubscribe button.
I don't know if you can say smash.
Yeah, of course we can. If you can't smash that unsubscribe button, go ahead and subscribe first, and then smash that unsubscribe button. Just go for it.
Make sure to turn off the notifications too.
Yeah. I am your host,
Cody. I'm Sean.
You're Cody Sean?
No.
You're Cody
He
Sean?
said he's the host, and I finished his sentence because he obviously like had a stroke or something.
I've always said that at the end of these. That is my sentence. I am your host.
Your name is Cody. My name is Sean,
I am your
And
host.
Kay.
and she's Kay.
And on next episode, we will be talking about Invasion of Astro Monster
What?
and Ebera, Horror of the Deep.
Ebony? What?
Ebera.
Ebony?
Ebera.
Ebony?
Ebera.
Ebony?
Ebera. Horror of the Deep.